Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Been on a bit of a break, took a holiday, and now that I'm back, it's time to get this finished. This is my office organizer. It's going to fit on a shelf. It's going to hold a whole pile of things and keep things organized so I can find what I need. I've made a fair number of these for the shop, and I really do like how they work. I had contemplated for a few moments to make the drawers out of wood and then just have an acrylic front to it. But I really do like how the acrylic works. It slides in and out of these compartments really nice and easily. Haven't had any issues with any ones I made. You know, on the channel I've made quite a few of them. And they work really well. It's easy to find stuff in them, and I decided to keep with that. Now, if in the future I get some time, I might think about trying it a different way. And of course, if you have any suggestions for that sort of thing, just leave a comment below, and I'll see what I can do to get around to that. As you can see, these go together so well. I mean, it is a bit of a finicky kind of thing to get everything to set up, but once it's all glued together, these are really solid. The rabbet joints work really nicely, and like I said, this is really good plywood, and very happy to take a little bit extra time to make this sort of thing work. And as you can see, this is without any sanding or anything. And it fits together quite nicely. You can see there's a little bit of glue squeeze out here and there. I will sand that off, of course, and one of the things I need to do is decide whether or not I want to finish this. I'm not going to do any sort of oil treatment or anything on this for this video. This is not going to be in my shop, so it is going to be in a place where it's much more climate control, let's say, less humidity, and there shouldn't be any sort of issues with that sort of stuff. So I'll have to give that a bit more thought. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this. So I need 6 drawers, and if you remember from my previous videos, the most important thing about when setting these things up is to make sure you cut all of one dimension at any given moment. Like if you're going to need, like in this case, I think this is 4 inches minus an eighth. If you need a whole pile of those, do them all at the same time, and you'll save yourself an awful lot of grief. And so I don't have to repeat myself and possibly miss something about safety and how to, gluing acrylic works and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to bother doing any of that here. I am going to leave a link below to the video where I covered all of that. And just go have a look at that if you're interested in or concerned about any of those sorts of aspects. So what I've done here is I've organized these into groups. Because of the way I decided to do this particular one, there are 2 drawers of one size, 2 drawers of another size, and then 2 individual drawers that are different. I suppose I probably should have thought about that a little bit more carefully when I originally set this up, because that means there are quite a few more things I need to organize. Those are all the doubles I just finished there, and this is the single. There's 2 of these, one at 9 and a bit in inches, and the other one just a little over 7. So it can make for some nice sized drawers, and it's going to give me a bit of variability for storage, which is nice. But like I said, when you go to the point where you have to organize all this and make sure you don't mess up on any particular cuts, it can get a little confusing. And like I said, I kept everything stacked together so that I had as little of that as possible. So now these are all cut to one dimension. Now all the 12 inches, these are a little over 12 inches. So as you can see there, they all need to be trimmed down to the size for the drawers are required. And there you go. That is all the cuts, a fair number. You can see they have the same sides all in common, and it's just the length of the bottom and the 2 end caps that are different in size. And as you can see, what I'm doing here is acrylic. Once you first peel it, as you can see, it's all been peeled. It has amazing static cling. Any kind of little bits of particles stick to it, and it is kind of lazy, I suppose. What I do is I just rub it on my jeans and try to get most of it off. Not obviously critical at this point, but you don't want too many bits and pieces inside the glue joint. And what I'm going to do here is just weld these all together. And usually what I do is an assembly line, but because there are so many different sizes, I do have to wait a little bit longer. This is at 2 times speed, and you can still see it just takes Probably about an extra 5 seconds I need to wait for each one, just to make sure that the joint has set up enough, because I'm only doing 2 of this size, and then when I'm done these I'm going to do 2 of the next size up, and then after that there's a singleton one, so there's no real necessity for assembly lining this. So I try to, like I say, keep this as as give it enough time to set up as possible. And you see there in that last one, it wasn't quite long enough. I should have waited another second or two. It doesn't take long. Methylene chloride has a very high vapor pressure, and it is gone in really short order. And one of the things you're going to notice in this as I'm doing these, I have a fan blowing, and it's blowing from the bottom of the screen towards the top of the screen, so from my perspective from left to right. And for these smaller ones, not such a big deal. They don't really have that much of a profile, but when I get to the I think it's the 9-inch one, I have to be extra careful, because it was catching a fair amount of wind, and the initial weld, because I'm holding it up vertically, it doesn't, I had to be very careful to hold it steady so that it had a chance to actually set without it just blowing over. So I'm not going to show you all this. There is an awful lot of these. That's only 6 drawers, I suppose, but it's an awful lot of acrylic. This was, I think, in total 1/3 full sheet. Like I said, part of the reason why I was thinking about going and doing this out of wood was to save on all that extra material, because acrylic's not cheap, but it's faster this way. As you can see, these set up in seconds instead of me having to tape all these and then let them sit overnight. So I mean, it is faster. And as I mentioned before, I do set up all of the cuts at the same time. I messed one up. And you can see here in a second, right where my right hand is, there's a bit of a gap near the top. These are the end pieces on that side are 1/8 inch too short. They're not going to be seen. They're going to be inside the slots. So I had contemplated for a few moments recutting them all, but the problem is, even though they're all the same height, they are of 4 different lengths, and I just didn't want to do that. For something that's not going to be seen, it just wasn't worth the extra effort. So, like I said, not too many mistakes on this. A couple of the welds were a little wonky, but for the most part, it went together pretty good. So, like I said, I'm not going to show all this to you. These 2 are done now. I'm going to touch up one of the welds I just didn't quite get done properly. You can do it both sides, but you have to be very careful when you do it on the other side, because if you put a little too much, it will go over the side, and then it will go underneath, and because it gets wicked along between the acrylic and the table, you can end up with a stain through, that you'll actually end up seeing. So you have to be very careful about that. I think I did one of those. I'm not sure you're going to see it here. I do remember spotting it as I was there. You see what happened just now? This is a 9-inch by 12-inch sheet, and it's just catching all the wind from the fan, and it was going to go over. So what I decided to do, instead of welding these according to how I did the other ones, I'm putting on the side brace here, which gives me a chance to hang on to 2 sides at once, and that stabilized it. So like I said, it wasn't very hard to do. It just it needed to be taken care of so I don't end up having this thing tip over. And the other thing you need to be careful of, this is only 1/8 inch thick, and it's not straight. It will curve, and I had to glue the first part of it there, and then let that set for a second or 2, and then straighten out the far end and glue that up there. So there you go. That's all that. And off camera, I took a couple pieces of 1/4 inch, made a little L shape like this, and these are going to be the handles. And I also sanded them down because I prefer the frosted finish to the clear version for handles. Gets all the edges off them as well. And now I just need to glue these 6 on, and we're all set. So I'm going to show you the final bit here, and this is my drawers. There you go. Turned out really nicely, and like I said, I still haven't decided whether I want to finish these, but I mean, I do like this style. This is very useful, And because of building it myself, I get to make them any size I wish. I find this great. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Leave comments. Let me know what you think about all this. And I'll see you in the next video. And bye for now.